RoboCop is not only one of the best movies ever made, but it's also one of the most important influences on the cyberpunk genre, next to movies such as Blade Runner or Total Recall. Despite coming out 30 years ago, it still feels fresh for the most part, and the message and themes it tried to convey are still relevant, maybe even more than they have ever been. It's an amazing movie that not only manages to have a great story, but also great action, great heroes, and villains.
RoboCop, the future of law enforcement.
What I love about this movie is how it feels like a superhero origin story. It has all the elements you'd also see in Marvel or DC movies and comics, and I could easily see RoboCop being part of the Avengers or Justice League. Of course, then those stories would need to be much more violent and twisted, as RoboCop doesn't pull any punches at all. I was actually surprised how dark and violent the movie was, in particular how gory. It's not exactly horror or slasher levels of gore, but it definitely is not afraid of showing extreme violence, such as people getting their limbs blown off or tortured. It's very dark, but you almost don't notice this darkness or violence until it happens because of the more light-hearted and comic tone that the movie also has. It balances the humor with the violence masterfully, but the inclusion of humor, or rather a certain light-hearted, almost parody-like element, makes the movie a lot more twisted than you think.
Nuke 'em. Get them before they get you. Another quality home game from Butler Brothers.
I'd buy that for $1.
Because this humor isn't meant to give you a good time or make you laugh like action comedies or normal comedies usually intend. In the case of RoboCop, it's meant to be a satirical parody of real life, showing how dark modern society can be, where one moment you hear about acts of violence and the next you see an ad for sunscreen or World of Tanks being shoved down your throat.
Sunblock 5000. Protection for the new age.
The world of RoboCop is beyond screwed up, taking place in Detroit where crime is at an all-time high. The police are clearly struggling hard with the situation, and cops keep dying daily. Despite being heavily armored and armed already, it's obvious that the city needs some other solution, and so one of the most powerful, corrupt and crony companies called the OCP decides to create robotic machines that will arrest and kill anyone committing crime.
209. We can expect 209 to become the hot military product for the next decade.
Dick, I'm very disappointed. Sure, it's only a glitch. A temporary setback. You call this a glitch?
Of course, a showcase of the first prototype goes horribly wrong, and the company decides for an even darker solution, fusing humans with robotic parts rather than creating a full machine. What's crazy about this is just how corrupt and evil the OCP is, almost on a fascist level, a comparison that becomes even more evident considering their logo literally looks like the flag of the Third Reich. After a man gets torn apart by a failed machine, the company's first thoughts are not about the dead man, but rather about the fact that the showcase failed and how much money was lost. The entire movie is supposed to be satire, which is why a lot of moments feel like parody and why the humor sometimes seems out of place. That was intentional. The movie makes fun of typical 80s action movies that had over-the-top violence and action with macho characters whose entire line of thought was that more and bigger guns solve every problem.
You know what the trouble with you is? You're too violent.
Me?
This is one of the reasons why there is so much blood and gore in the movie. Anytime someone gets shot or blown up, it's heavily exaggerated and doesn't seem realistic at all, which is in line with a lot of cliches and tropes that were popular in the 80s. In RoboCop, a character such as Alex Murphy can get shot over a dozen times by very heavy weapons, get his limbs blown apart and still live. People can lose their hands and barely even scream as if it's nothing but a scratch. The movie criticizes the idea that more and heavier guns will solve crime or lower it. The villains here are genuinely evil and sadistic. They get no sad backstory. There are no moments where the movie makes us feel anything but hate or contempt for them. Their only goals are to steal, kill, and cause as much chaos as they can. They don't deserve our sympathy. They don't deserve our mercy. They are scum, and there is only one cure for them.
You probably don't think I'm a very nice guy, do you? Buddy, I think you're slime.
If RoboCop had been made today, then these villains would have most likely gotten some sort of sad backstory to let us understand how and why they turned this evil. You can see this trend today where there are movies and TV shows dedicated specifically to villains such as Cruella or the Penguin. Now, I don't think that's a bad thing. The Penguin TV show in particular is really good and fun, and at the end of the day, it all depends on whether the writers and directors are competent or not. But it's interesting to see how RoboCop does not bother to do any of that. It portrays villains and corrupt individuals as what they really are, and it also highlights how there will never be an actual cure or solution for and against these people. Evil and sadistic humans will always exist as long as humanity has not nuked itself. The idea that more guns or deadly machines will cut down crime is nonsense because there will always be outlaws and troublemakers. It's why RoboCop ultimately, even after defeating the villains of this story, doesn't actually solve anything. He didn't cut down on crime, he just removed a bunch of evil people whose spot was instantly taken by the next group of evil assholes. Having said that, looking past all of the parody and satire, the action in RoboCop is still amazing and a lot of fun to watch. In a way, Robo reminds me of a reverse Terminator, where instead of being specifically made to kill, he actually has to uphold the law and protect the innocent. As morally dark and wrong as his creation and existence is, he himself was programmed to be a hero and a good guy. He does kill when he has to, often in extremely bloody ways, but he also tries to avoid doing so if he can. For most of the movie, he's an unstoppable machine, not stopping even when shot upon, being mostly bulletproof.
Dead or alive, you are coming with me. Your move, creep.
Alex Murphy is a very interesting character. In many ways, his character fits the typical action hero of the 80s. He has a sense of duty, is religious, and also a cowboy who likes the thrill of the action. We don't actually get that much character development for him as Alex Murphy specifically. In fact, Alex Murphy as a human barely gets any character development, but what we do get is more than enough. Despite having so little screen time, he still manages to come across as likable and a decent person.
Role models can be very important to a boy.
Pharmaceutical company on blind. Assist unit 229.
Okay, I get a kick out of it.
Which is extremely important considering his fate. When he gets turned into RoboCop after being brutally shot to pieces by gangsters, we feel for him even more because we got to see his previous self. We got to experience him as a human, so watching him as a machine for the rest of the movie is a feeling of pity, sadness, and even anger. Anger because you know exactly that something like this could happen in real life. Sure, we might not be on the technological level of fusing human humans and machines the way it's shown in this movie, for now, but we'd certainly already reached a level of moral decay and corrupt crony business practices. People that would turn humans into cyborgs, not caring about the person itself and only caring about the money, fame, and social status it will give them, already exist. In fact, they exist in droves, licking their greedy paws just waiting for an opportunity or experiment like is shown in this movie.
There will come a point where no job is needed. You can have a job if you want to have a job for sort of personal satisfaction, but the AI will be able to do everything. So,
Your company built the fucking thing. Now I gotta deal with it? I don't have time for this bullshit.
It's a topic that has also been masterfully explored in BioShock, where a lack of regulations and rules caused the downfall of Rapture, but also led to some extremely twisted and fucked up human experiments and addictions. I will be honest, seeing Murphy be turned into RoboCop hit me really deep. Anytime he's hurt or slowly remembering his past life, I almost feel the same way as when you see a helpless animal or child being hurt or abused. It makes you feel more anger and pity for them than if you saw a grown human experience the same thing. And maybe I'm just screwed up myself, I don't deny that, but part of me felt more sympathy towards Robo because he felt like something else, neither human nor machine, almost like an alien entity, which was of course also the intent of this movie. It's deeply philosophical despite all of the action going on. It makes you wonder what defines a human and what defines a machine.
I can feel them. But I can't remember them.
With a touch of elegance. Hey, have you thought it all over? Why not make me an offer?
Since the movie's release, there have been a lot of discussions going on about whether RoboCop was still Alex Murphy or an entirely new being. Some people claim that Murphy died and that this machine simply has his brain and memories but doesn't know how to handle and deal with them. Personally, I disagree heavily with the idea that RoboCop is not Murphy. They are one and the same, changed of course, but still the same. If Robo has Murphy's brain and memories, then he is still that person. His brain has never been disconnected from him, nor did the OCP manage to erase all of his memories. Sure, they did remove almost all of his body parts and turned him into a machine, but it's still Murphy. He is a changed person, and you could make the argument that he's therefore someone new. And that would be true. But it's still Murphy fundamentally. It's still his brain and his memories. It's amazing to me how deep this movie is, despite at first glance seeming like just another action movie. A lot of this is due to the great soundtrack. The main theme here is iconic, but it also sounds heroic and sad at the same time. It fits perfectly to the story and is one of those themes that gets stuck in your head for a while. This is coupled with the great performances from all the actors, but especially from Peter Weller playing RoboCop. The other actors do a fantastic job, the villains are fun and memorable, but Robo is the main star of the show. And to me, it's simply mind-blowing how Weller manages to convey a large range of emotions despite his character mostly talking in a very dry and emotionless tone.